Once approved, it will be taken to the Senate. And Mr. Speaker, you will find sometimes that at the Senate, they want to amend the bill to increase what this House or what the Budget Committee has provided, that is going to be the shareable revenue for the counties. Yet, Mr. Speaker, as a country, we need to work within our budget, what we have. We share what we have. We cannot budget what we don't have, Mr. Speaker. So, and even, Mr. Speaker, as we approve this bill, we would want to see that all the monies which are going to the counties, we would want to see our improved health centers, the county hospitals, because this is basically, Mr. Speaker, as to why we are appropriating these resources to the counties. But sometimes you go to the counties, Mr. Speaker, you go to an hospital, many people, many patients who are going to the county hospitals, and then you will find that when they are there, they are told they are not medicine or drugs in those hospitals. They are given prescriptions to go and buy outside, to look elsewhere. So there must be an accountability, Mr. Speaker, on the monies we are giving out to the counties. Mr. Speaker, from the pending bills we have as a country, and the Budget Committee Chair is here, will tell you that the big percentage of the pending bills we have as a country is also at our counties. The counties, they are not paying suppliers, especially when there is a successive, regime, or when there is a change of regime at the counties. Once a new governor comes in, Honorable Speaker, he comes and starts a new projects altogether, and the projects which were initiated by the previous governor gets told, Mr. Speaker, government exists by perpetuity, Mr. Speaker. Whoever comes in must be able to proceed to make sure that the projects which were started by the previous governor must be completed, because the contractors at the counties are Kenyans. These are people who have gone to the banks to borrow some loans and to do business with the counties. So, Mr. Speaker, as we work on, as a House, to approve this bill, there is need for our friends at the Senate to make sure that they hold the governors accountable of these resources we are giving them. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to ask also our county assemblies. They are the first line of oversight. But you will find that our county assemblies, they are in bed with our governors. So we want to ask our county assemblies to make sure that our governors are accountable to the county assemblies, so that the resources which we are giving them, we are appropriating them, and this in this House and as a Parliament, Mr. Speaker, goes towards helping our people. With those many remarks, I support, Mr. Speaker.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi leo niweze kuzungumzia makadirio ya bajeti, Mheshimiwa Spika, ama mgao ambao unaenda katika national government na county government. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza ningeweza kumpongeza chair wa budget na kikosi chake chote kwa kufanya usawa. Mheshimiwa Spika, muda mrefu counties wamekuwa wakilalamika wakisema mgao wao ni mdogo, na kweli tumekuwa tukiona kwa muda mrefu wamekuwa kuna mambo mengi sana waweza wakajifanyia, Mheshimiwa Spika, na hasa ukiangalia upande wa disaster na mambo mengi. Hospitali saa zingine unaambiwa madawa hakuna, barabara kule zimeharibika. Lakini pia Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka niseme hivi, haya makadirio ambayo yameweka leo ni ya kuweza kuwasaidia waweze kurun counties vizuri, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini pia hatutaki kusikia kuwa pesa zimeingia county na bado watu wanakosa madawa hospitali, barabara na miundo msingi kwa mbaya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kwanza ningependa kusema hata katika hii makadirio tuangalie tu pia mambo ya disaster. Manake juzi na jana tumeona mvua imenyesha kubwa sana na imeharibu sehemu kubwa. Kwa hiyo kama pia wao magavana waweza, na wao wanapata hii disaster fund, najua wanapata, wao wakiangalia vizuri miundo misingi, waweze kutengeza zile barabara ambazo zinahusika na county, waweze kuangalia kuwa mashimo ambayo yameziba yote wamezibua, kwa sababu huu msimu wa mvua tutakuja kuona mambo mengi sana. Kwa hiyo wao wanajitayarisha katika mambo haya badala ya kulia. Najua sisi jana na juzi hapa tulikuja tukaongezea pesa ikafika bilioni 415. Na hapa naona pia wameongezewa zingine katika haya makadirio, na pia leo nimemsikia rais akisema kuna ile 70 bilioni ambayo pia ilikuwa iko kwenye mgao wao, yote inafika zaidi ya karibu nusu ya trilioni, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi napenda tu kusema hizi pesa zikiingia mashinani lazima zifanye kazi. Na ningekuwa na raha sana kama ningeona pia sisi kina mama county makadirio yetu yamewekwa humu, lakini najua kuna mambo mengine ambayo yanaendelea mpaka yamalizwe na yatatuliwe kwanza, ndio tuweze kujua NGCDF na NGAF tunaenda vipi, kwa sababu hata sisi kazi ambayo tunafanya, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kazi ngumu sana na ni kazi ambayo watu ni wengi lakini mgao ni kidogo. Kwa hiyo mimi niwaambie hata la taifa kuu, hizi pesa ambazo wanapata vile rais anasema, lazima makadirio vile yamewekwa, pesa zikishuka chini, zishuke kwa mambo ambayo yanaonyesha ujenzi wa taifa kikamilifu. Na nimpongeze kwa sababu amekazana na amefanya kazi nzuri sana. Hata hizi akiongezewa, najua hizi pesa haziwezi kwenda kwa sehemu mbaya, kwa sababu rais amebainisha hata ile affordable housing pesa zikienda, sisi tulikuwa tunasema hii ni biashara mingine, lakini Mheshimiwa Spika ameweza kutuprove wrong, na akaonyesha kwa kuonyesha waziwazi kuwa nyumba ndio hizi zinajengwa na watu wanaingia, watu wametolewa katika sehemu mbovu. Kwa hiyo pesa ya national government tumeona ikifanya kazi vizuri sana. Na mimi nasema county government mmelia sana, jumba hili liko hapa kuwasaidia, lakini pia tukiwasaidia na nyinyi kule chini, manake tuwajua health imekuwa devolved, mambo ya education kidogo ECD, tuone na watoto chakula wanapata vizuri shuleni, darasa zao ziko sawa, ile miundo misingi ambayo inashughulikiwa na county ama maendeleo ya county tuwe tunaona, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu tuliona magazeti yakiandika kuwa kuna wengine ambao hata hawakuweza kutumia pesa kwenye maendeleo. Mheshimiwa Spika, pesa nyingi zilichukuliwa zikawekwa kwenye mishahara. Mimi niseme tu magavana wetu muwe wabunifu, hizi pesa zikishuka chini muonyeshe wananchi kuwa kweli ugatuzi unafanya kazi, ndio tuweze kujua kweli hizi pesa hata mkitaka tuongezee kila siku tutaongeza, lakini tuone umuhimu wa pesa. Kwa hiyo haya makadirio yako sawa kabisa, Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nataka niwapongeze ambao wameiandaa hii, na nipongeze pia juhudi ya rais kusema kuwa hawezi kuchukua loan kutoka nje. Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa tukipiga kelele hapa sana wakati wa budget ikifika, kwa sababu ilikuwa tunaona pesa zinakopwa sana, lakini rais amejibidisha na amesema anataka Kenya iwe loan free, na amekataa tena hachukui loan hata ile pesa infrastructure ambayo alikuwa anasema ile trillions ambayo imepitishwa jana na juzi. Mheshimiwa Spika, hizi si pesa ambazo zitakatwa wananchi, wala si pesa ambazo zitaombwa kule nje. Ni pesa ambayo rais anatumia njia yake na mbinu ya kutafuta katika vitu ambavyo viko hapa ndani ya taifa letu, ili kuwekeza katika mambo ambayo yataweza kusaidia taifa. Kwa hiyo Wakenya wajue, Kenya pia hatuwezi kuwa watu wa kukopa. Ikiwa tumelipa Eurobond, pesa yote imekamilika, lazima tumpongeze rais kwa kazi nzuri ambayo anafanya. Ila tu mimi niseme wale ambao wanashughulika na haya mapeni kule chini, kuna sekta tofauti tofauti, pesa za equalization fund na pesa zingine zikija kwenu, hakikisheni hizi pesa mnazifanyia kazi, ili tusiweze kulaumu mtu mmoja wakati kuna mtu ambaye amekaa kando ndo anafanya ubadhirifu. Mheshimiwa Spika, na wakati mwingine pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi kama mama county naomba next time chairman wa budget tukumbuke pia sisi kina mama county tuwekeke vitu hapo kidogo kidogo ziweze kutusaidia huko chini. Mambo pia ni magumu kwetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana, na ninapongeza kamati ambayo imeandaa hii. Asante sana.
Madha Wangare. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I write to support this bill, I want to note, Mr. Speaker, that this House has dutifully undertaken its duty in DORA every year, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that money reaches the counties at the right time. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at the amount that we are speaking about right here, and you mirror it to CDF, Mr. Speaker, it is over $1 billion versus almost an average of 150 million per constituency, Mr. Speaker. And that then means, Mr. Speaker, that we should have more done by this money than we are currently seeing. Mr. Speaker, devolution was meant to change a few things in the counties. And Mr. Speaker, we are still struggling with basics, ECDs, Mr. Speaker, primary health, because what this was supposed to do, Mr. Speaker, was to ensure that the referral hospitals only dealt with the referral cases, Mr. Speaker. The issue of dispensaries and health centers all the way to level 4, Mr. Speaker, should have been effectively being dealt by the county governments, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to ease the problems that we have in Kenyatta, in MTRH, in Eldoret, Mr. Speaker, we would by now have ensured that issues like immunization, HIV management, Mr. Speaker, typhoid, common colds, they should not get their ways to Kenyatta, Mr. Speaker, because at any level, at the dispensary, at the health centers, these issues will be sorted. But Mr. Speaker, allow me to speak to one issue I see that is a problem with the county governments. Mr. Speaker, we speak over 400 billion right now, but don't forget, Mr. Speaker, we still have other monies. Just recently, the Treasury actually released the list of the 36 counties that are to benefit from World Bank, more than 6 billion, 6.7 billion, Mr. Speaker. And what we are seeing in the counties, Mr. Speaker, is that the World Bank projects are being flaunted like the main projects that are being done by the county governments. Mr. Speaker, you'll come to Gilgil and you'll find Cabro works being done in the town, but it is not the county government allocation, Mr. Speaker, it is the World Bank. You go to climate change works, Mr. Speaker, you find FLOCA, which is a World Bank, which is also a World Bank supported fund, doing a lot in the counties and in the constituencies, Mr. Speaker, but it is not the county government allocation. So, Mr. Speaker, governors must also stop hiding behind the World Bank and the National Treasury appropriated projects to fool Kenyans and to fool members of their counties that this is the money they are getting in this allocation, Mr. Speaker. This allocation, therefore, must be accounted for to the shillings as on a stand-alone item, Mr. Speaker, and not to be just camouflaged through the World Bank projects. Mr. Speaker, the other issue I'll speak about is the issue of oversight. Mr. Speaker, I get very discouraged when we are trying to get CSS to this floor to answer questions, yet we have the mandate to oversight the national executive, but they are answering questions in the Senate. Mr. Speaker, we have to get to a point, whether it is this dispensation or the next, but for posterity, Mr. Speaker, we must get to a point where the attention of the Senate is basically on the governors, Mr. Speaker. The appearance of the CSS in the Senate has derailed that mandate, Mr. Speaker. So they end up spending all the time, and Mr. Speaker, they do not answer to them in matters of budget. They cannot even have a censure motion or an impeachment, Mr. Speaker, because their mandate is limited. Mr. Speaker, we have to get to a point where the governors know that when the questions are asked in the Senate, they are able to answer. That way, Mr. Speaker, we'll be able to get the county governments to be accountable and to ensure that we have actually streamlined what the county governments are supposed to do. Mr. Speaker, that way, our people can be able to deal with the issues that affect the counties. Mr. Speaker, the issues that the counties are allocated by Schedule 4 are very basic, like I said. Mr. Speaker, this issue of drainage, the floodings we are seeing every day. You'll find, Mr. Speaker, a county government has 8,000, like Nakuru or more, workers that you do not know what they do, Mr. Speaker. We should be able to ensure that anytime there is a crisis like the flooding crisis, Mr. Speaker, these workers are able to ensure that the drainages are clogged in time. And Mr. Speaker, we know when the meteorologist says it's going to rain. So, Mr. Speaker, this is what we are supposed to do, to see in every town, in every center, the rural roads, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that the zero mileage and zero distribution of fertilizer is taken to the doorstep of farmers, Mr. Speaker. That is the support we need to see in the county government. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support, I hope that the counties can read what can actually adhere to what they should do, can adhere to their mandate, the MCAs the same, and Mr. Speaker, more importantly, the Senate. That way we can be able to ensure that oversight is clear and we are not duplicating or missing the point in terms of supporting devolution. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Nabe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by saying the Constitution 2010, Schedule 4, identifies and allocates functions to each level of government. And as we know, money follows functions. The counties, as we know them, they receive money for early child development, education, health, agriculture, roads, to mention but a few. Mr. Speaker, my concern is that as we allocate this money, as the national government develops basic education, primary, junior school, secondary school, in many of the counties, the foundation is missing. You have a good primary school, it has no ECD. You have enough teachers for primary school, counties have no teachers for the ECD. It raises the question, do we need to recalibrate so that in the years to come, as we look at the division of revenue bill, it should be accompanied by an audited, functional record of what is happening in the counties. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you went to the constituencies, all county roads are impassable. And yet, we allocate money for the same. Mr. Speaker, with the rains and the changing patterns of weather, you will find that the ECD children are unable to go to school because they are missing classes. What they have is makeshift classes. In some counties, they are even attending lessons in churches. This calls for, Mr. Speaker, developing much more than what we know as accountability mechanism. I'm recommending that the many non-state actors who have been following us on CDF and Gov money, they should spend much more time developing social accountability mechanism to hold county governments and governors accountable. Mr. Speaker, this country is going to have a crisis, and this is the crisis. We allocate money using this bill. Then, thereafter, there will be something here for conditional grants. Then, the very counties get money from World Bank. What then happens, they use money for conditional grants, they use money from World Bank, and the money we allocate through the division of revenue, it's not accounted for. In some counties, despite having a basic minimum, bearing of 35% at least on development, they have as less as 10, 15. And the controller has pointed out the mismatch between spending for development and spending for recurrent expenditure. I'm more worried where the national government goes to take over projects started by county governments. And the same county governments, when you look in the budget, they still reflect money to those projects. From my understanding, we are doing double counting. So one level of government is lying, and this is the county government. I would like to insist that where the national government wants...
Yes, Owen Bayer, also point of order.
You know, I'm a very good student of one Martin Shikuku, who said that the word lying is not parliamentary.
Indeed, Honorable Nabi, lying is not parliamentary language, misleading.
It's misleading.
Which will be
One level of government is misleading.
Excellent.
But for sure, Mr. Speaker, when I pick money from you with an intention of helping Atandi, for example, and I don't do it, what would I have done?
Cheating.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I was saying...
Yes, Nguzia. Nguna, what is your point of order?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I am just wondering, how can you eat money? How do you eat money, actually?
Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem? Go on.
Mr. Speaker, my recommendation is where the national government wants to assist a county government on a project that they have started and they are unable, they should take over the whole project. And that project becomes a national government project. That is the only way we can ensure we are getting value for money and both the levels of government remain accountable. Finally, Mr. Speaker, this parliament needs to think through ourselves and the Senate whether we are not duplicating functions by allowing national state officers, the principal secretaries, to go and answer issues that they have answered in National Assembly to Senate. I'm raising this to support what Honorable Wangare said, that actually the Senate is instead chasing shadows and leaving the really envelope, which is called county governments. They need to spend more time holding county governments accountable, because what is going on in the county governments is not anything near accountability. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Yes, Kitur.
Honorable Speaker, I stand on a point of order 95. The reading the mood of the House, Honorable Speaker, that the mover be called to reply.
Honorable members, he's got a valid point of order, but let's have some middle ground. This bill reflects virtually what you discussed in the BPS. In the interest of good time management, I see a few members who want to say something. Can I limit your time to about 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Or let's agree, it is now 4:28. Can we close this debate at 5 and go into committee? Remember, these are constitutionally time-bound bills. So if we'll do up to 5, and I see several hands up. Let me use my discretion to give you 3 minutes each. Maklap. Remember,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Charles Dickens said, if you can't make your point in 2 minutes, you are unlikely to make any point in 1 hour.
Mr. Speaker, you have already eaten my 40 seconds. Mr. Speaker, I rise first of all to support this Division of Revenue Bill, Bill number 2 of 2026. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the contradictions that in this bill, it is 420. Elsewhere, it is 450. But I will heavily rely on the truth of this because this is what we said, this is what was contained in the BBS. I will not go to the other side. Why, Mr. Speaker, is because why are we continuously increasing resources for county governments without knowing what kind of functions are following these particular resources? The resources, if we increase it from 385, what then did we take again to county governments so that it warrants an additional amount? And then subsequently up to now when we are saying we are proposing 420 billion to county government. It means there could be some functions in between last year and now that have been devolved to the county governments, and therefore functions, resources follow functions. So, Speaker, we must become truthful in this country. We are not going to allow resources of taxpayers of this country to continuously call to people when they change regimes in the county government, they add more employees even when there is no space for or need to employ more, or even stalling projects because another governor was having that particular resources. So, Speaker, it is therefore prudent that going forward, when this bill is brought to the House and there is an additional resources from previous financial year, then we should be told, because they now have this and these functions that have been taken to the county governments, therefore we need an additional resources to follow the functions. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, is the accountability. So, Speaker, the health care in the county governments, even if we have a functional share, what is share without medicine? You go there with share working, but the medicine is not there. And yet we have report from this House that resources are being sent to the county governments on time. In fact, when you go to the villages, Mr. Speaker, the MCS are saying MPs have not released the money. The money is held in Nairobi. And yet the truth of the matter is they receive resources on good time. And they don't provide the necessary medicine to to the dispensaries in our rural areas. So, Speaker, the question of accountability from the county assemblies to the Senate. So, Speaker, it is time that we need to look at some functions of, for example, health. Your
time is up. Before Shakil takes the floor, allow me to acknowledge in the public gallery Oriwo Boys High School from Karachonyo, Homa Bay. In the public gallery again, I don't know if this is public or speaker's gallery, we have Kangongi Comprehensive School from Madhioya in Muranga. Then we have Kabare Girls Grade 2 from Gishugu, Kirinyaga. Group 2. Kabare Girls, are they in the gallery? When you are mentioned, you stand up. They have left. So who are those in the speaker's gallery? I haven't seen them respond. Then we have Itara Secondary School from Mara in Tharaka Nithi. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Shakil Shabir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as much as I want to get up and support the Division of Revenue Bill, because it is within the within our mandate, and that is where we are working. I was a member of CKRC, and we discussed this issue of devolution. Devolution, of course, functions and revenue need to go together. One thing that we had discussed, Mr. Speaker, you might remember, we did not want the number of counties that we have. We wanted 10, if you remember. It was 14. We did not want so many because we felt that these excellencies would now become like little presidents. Mr. Speaker, sir, I spent a lot of time on devolution. An issue of devolution we spoke about was that each budget should be on a zero-based budgeting or performance budgeting. Mr. Speaker, I have been a mayor of a city, and we know how things work on own source revenue. These organizations that counties that we're talking about now have declared very little on source revenue, and most of them are now depending on the division of revenue bill. We are saying that is fine, but you know what is happening is devolution was meant to have certain results. One of the results we did not want was to devolve corruption. We have actually devolved corruption at each level. There are issues at each county, and some of these issues are now becoming recurrent, and they are also now strangulating the counties. And I am of the opinion that even the oversight, recently I saw the governors and the Senate having an argument about oversight. It is an essential part of devolution. It's an essential part if the government has been given money, county government has been given money based upon some sort of division of revenue bill. That must be followed to the T. However, once you give them the money, they start now changing their priorities. They start changing other issues.
Yes, member.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. As I rise to support the motion on approval of division of revenue, allow me first to appreciate the Committee of Budget and Appropriation and this Honorable House through your leadership for undertaking its constitutional responsibility of passing critical bills that are going to support devolution. One of it is the division of revenue bill that is before us. Mr. Speaker, as I stand to support this, it is high time at this moment when we are celebrating more than 10 years of devolution. In fact, we are doing almost from 2010, we're almost doing 15 years to around 16 years of devolution. And truth be said, Mr. Speaker, we have to go back to the spirit of our Constitution under fourth schedule, the provision and the separation of mandates and roles of the two levels of government. As we speak now, Mr. Speaker, there are many questions that Kenyans are asking from year one of devolution up to the current year where we are now. If we are going to take a yardstick or measure the functions and the improvement, attainment of this devolution, truth to be said, Kenyans will still have a lot of questions as to where we are moving. Why am I saying this? Today, we are discussing a division of revenue that has proposed a growth in the releases or in the money allocated for county governments or for devolution. It has grown to now, we are speaking of around 450 billion if you accumulate shareable revenue together with the conditional grants. But the question is this, despite the fact that this revenue is growing, Mr. Speaker, believe you me, the reports from the Controller of Budget are indicating that the cost on personnel is also growing. The question we are having is this, where are these employment being undertaken by counties taken to? What kind of role and functions is meant or is being focused by devolution units? Is it turning out to be an employment bureau? Because that is where it is eating the fiscal roles of this devolution. As we speak right now, more than 35% provided by the law is being spent on personnel emolument. Any county on average, they are doing almost 40%. Even if this growth on division of revenue will be done, that factor still remains constant. Then the question is this: is it a function of county to employ? And when they employ, what function does these employees undertake? Whereas we are seeing no difference in health, we are seeing no difference in education, we are seeing difference in roads. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, that we have to speak about is the issue of oversight. That county assemblies need to up their game and focus on these ones, because this is where we are getting mismatch. Lastly, because time is very short, Mr. Speaker, we've seen governors asking to disperse bursaries to primary to basic education. Ninth function of the second part of fourth schedule is the issue of addressing the youth and sports. But we have never seen intervention focusing on post-secondary school by the governors on our youth. Mr. Speaker, it's a question that we need to ask the governors. Focus on youth post-secondary school, as this honorable house are addressing the bursaries for the best.
Bursaries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the Division of Revenue Bill, which determines how resources are shared between the national government and our county governments. This debate is not about the figures. It's about ensuring that the resources reach the people and address the realities they face on the ground every day. Honorable Speaker, over the past weeks, we have witnessed devastating floods in several parts of our country, including here in Nairobi. Families have lost homes, livelihoods have been disrupted, and tragically, lives have been lost. These events remind us that climate-related disasters are becoming more frequent and more severe. As we approve the division of revenue between the national and county governments, we must ask ourselves whether these resources are being aligned to the risks our people face. Counties are on the front line when disasters occur. They are responsible for urban planning, drainage systems, solid waste management, emergency response. The equitable share allocated to counties must therefore translate into stronger local infrastructure, better drainage systems, improved waste management, and preparedness when such disasters as floods occur. Honorable Speaker, climate change is no longer a theory and debates for conferences. It is a reality washing through our streets and homes. Our fiscal decisions therefore must reflect urgency and resilience and responsibility. At the same time, the national government must continue to invest in major infrastructure that counties cannot handle. And in that regard, we are really happy that there is a partnership right now going on between the Nairobi County and the national government. Large-scale flood mitigation projects, river rehabilitation, and urban stormwater systems require national support and coordination. This is particularly important in rapidly growing urban centers like Nairobi, where population and pressures of environmental challenges require both leadership and county accountability. Honorable Speaker, the real test for division revenue will not be the numbers we approve today. It will be whether the counties will be able to use these resources to protect lives, to improve infrastructure, and to build communities that are resilient to the changing climate. With those remarks, I support the bill while emphasizing the need for responsible use of resources and stronger investments in disaster preparedness and urban resilience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this DORA bill. Honorable Speaker, budget and budget process is a political tool and bargaining arena. DORA has divided the revenues to both county government and national government. But there is need to have this budget segregated, even to tell us how much has gone into Turkana South, how much has gone into Turkana County for that matter. Because, Honorable Speaker, budget has been skewed to some areas of this country. And the people of some of the marginalized areas are being underfunded by government budget. Honorable Speaker, DORA is one of the working documents for preparation of the budget. And it is this time I want to raise my voice that there is need to take into consideration on matters of security, and especially in the people of Turkana South. Nothing has been budgeted. Ministry has been promising a lot that they are going to buy vehicles for administration people of Turkana South. But nothing has been done. After the sub-county, Aro sub-county, lost 5 vehicles to banditry. They were burnt by bandits during the raids that took place in 2 years ago. Honorable Speaker, the reason as to why I'm requesting the budget to be segregated, because there are some functions that belong to the national government as well as to the county governments. County governments are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. A case in hand, if you look at the hospital, the health services in Turkana County, Honorable Speaker, if you go to Lodwar County Referral Hospital, it is terrible. Yet, if you look at the budget of that particular county, a lot of money, more than 20%, is budgeted to the Ministry of Health or Department of Health of Turkana County. But if a patient goes there, rest assured that patient is not going to survive. Segregation also, again, there are a lot of needs, basic needs that are required by the people of these marginalized communities. Water. A lot has been budgeted to the Ministry of Water, yet this function has been devolved to county governments, and nothing is reaching to these marginalized communities.
Your time is up. Yes, Nyanze.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also hear my views on this bill. Even though, Speaker, I support the Division of Revenue bill, I have some issues which I want to raise, but before I raise, I want to say that actually the devolution for the last 10 years has brought general improvement in our rural areas. There is a lot of improvement because most of even the products which you find in Nairobi, you will find them in our supermarkets in the rural areas. And the rural areas, most of them, in most of the counties, have been developed. So we can say that the devolution has really made our country to improve in the infrastructure and also other things. From the PS, where the division of revenue is actually coming from, there are some issues which I should be improved going forward, especially on the, one of them is on the pending bills. Some of the departments, even though they have very huge pending bills, do not even include these pending bills in their budgets. And going forward, I think these pending bills should be a priority. Even in the county governments, they do not give pending bills, they don't make it as a priority, especially when one governor leaves, the other one comes, and then they do not check, they don't care the pending bills which the previous governor ended. And this has left many of our people very poor. Some in loans, and some have even died from this stress from such pending bills. The other issue which we should also, in the future, Speaker, concentrate on is on revenue. Our county governments do not have good systems to collect their own revenue. And this leaves a lot of loopholes whereby there is a lot of corruption. And if this own revenue was collected well, then this would even ease our budget, and the division of revenue would actually be even less, so that the sharing would be better. But without the system, there are a lot of loopholes. Even though they collect from mamambogas who are left with nothing, they give so much money, and this money cannot be accounted for. So this is very, very unfair. So we should have,
Fatuma Migori.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the Division of Revenue Bill 2026. Honorable Speaker, as much as we are giving, allocating revenue to counties, but I must put it that our counties are also not doing the right thing. You find some counties, the previous governor that was there before started a project. And as the new governor comes in, he neglects that project and starts his own project. And I think Auditor General needs to go and do a study on this project that money was used, maybe up to half or quarter. The project is stalled there. Nobody's interested in that because that governor wants to start his own project and make his own name. And that alone is wastage of money. Honorable Speaker, as we walk towards the journey of Singapore, Singapore starts from the county. It cannot be at national level. If the governors cannot do their work properly, there is no way the president will deliver us to Singapore. So we also need to tell them the priorities that Singapore at national level has so that they incorporate with the county government and national government so that the dream of Singapore is arise. Honorable Speaker, the main issue we have is corruption. No matter how much we give the county government, if corruption is not dealt with at the lower level, the national government still will not manage to deal with it. So I request our counties, as you get your revenue, God is watching you. Please work for your people. Please help your people realize the dream of Singapore from Migori County to Homa Bay County to Nairobi County to Mombasa County, so that when the president takes us to Singapore, he counts his and the county government counts theirs, and truly all of us will arrive in Singapore on our way to Canaan. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mother.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to support and also acknowledge the fact that if it were not devolution, some counties like Turkana would not have developed as they are today. But, Honorable Speaker, the question that I remain asking, even today, is why is the poverty index, for example, in Turkana, that was brought to 79%, is now going up to 83%. From 97% to 79%, now it is going to 83%. Honorable Speaker, I know it is because the curse of pending bills is in these counties. Like, as at now, I will say the pending bill for Turkana County is 4.8 billion. If you had the wage bill, as at now, which is at 5.8 billion, it means their budget of 17.8 billion will already have been absorbed by either the pending bills or the wage bill, Honorable Speaker. Meaning, this poverty index, which is now at 83%, the hardcore poverty, which is now at 43%, the food poverty, which is now at 64%, will keep on rising. Honorable Speaker, the other thing is, counties have taken over the equalization fund as their projects that is funded through the equitable share. They have taken over the KFW, German Development Bank, projects, grants, all the conditional grants. They have now taken over as projects that are done by counties, forgetting that there is an equitable share which should be used to reduce the poverty index in these counties, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, if we are not going to be cautious, the issue about county governments will be another curse in this country. And so when we are speaking about Singapore, there are counties that will not get to Singapore within the time that is maybe allocated, because the leadership could be the wrong leadership in these counties, Honorable Speaker. Meaning, as time goes by, we will need to actually say if the BPS will even be able to give us an opportunity of paying pending bills from Nairobi instead of paying it from counties. I support, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Langata.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. From the onset, I support the Division of Revenue Bill, more so looking at what has been happening in Nairobi, running a budget averagely a year of 40 billion, with almost 60% still being used for the personnel, and with a surging population in this county each and every single day. The infrastructure that this county still depend on is the infrastructure that was there, the colonial infrastructure. As we speak, Nairobi is going up the sky. That is, we are doing skyscrapers and all. Most of the houses that we have were made for single dwelling. So you find a house that maybe was supposed to take care of maybe 5 or 6 people has been brought down and a skyscraper has been put up there. The same infrastructure cannot sustain that kind of a surge in that kind of population. As we speak, we are facing a very hard time with the drainage. We just recent floods that killed so many of our people. It's a very sad situation that the county itself cannot be able to hold with the revenue that they're having. That is why we again also support the collaboration that the national government and the county of Nairobi are having right now to just help in mitigating some of these issues that Nairobi County has not been able to put enough money on, like drainage, garbage collection. We are talking about housing, we are talking about water, and even health. So from the onset, I will say I support this bill, and the counties must also make sure that when more money is allocated to them, let the work be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Aseka, but before you take the floor, allow me to acknowledge St. Joseph Comprehensive School from Molo, Nakuru in the public gallery, St. James Comprehensive School from Molo, Nakuru County, and Lady Anne Delamere Secondary School from Gilgil, Nakuru. Aseka, hold it. Mother Wangari, I give you half a minute to welcome your school.
Thank
and
you.
The rest on our behalf.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to just take this opportunity that you've given me to welcome all the students and learners and teachers who are visiting us. And also thank you and the clerk, Mr. Speaker, because the traffic has increased in our galleries, and that's what this parliament is supposed to do, to teach our younger generation. Mr. Speaker, this Lady Anne Delamere, as the name suggests, of course, was established by the Lady Anne, who was the wife of the Baron Delamere. And Mr. Speaker, it is a recent establishment in 2008, unlike the other colonial era schools. And Mr. Speaker, it's a public mixed school. We are just working on something with CDF to ensure that we make it a girls boarding school in the wider Baroque and the Gilgil constituency, Mr. Speaker. So I welcome them in this house, and we hope to see them, of course, after they leave the gallery, and also all the learners, Mr. Speaker, to learn 1 or 2 things from us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, and I join you on my behalf and on behalf of the House to welcome all the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Aseka.
Thank you, Speaker.
Atande, get ready. Once Aseka is done, you will be called upon to reply.
I thank you, Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to contribute to this Division of Revenue Bill that distributes revenues between 2 levels of government. So, Speaker, I confirm that the Budget and Appropriation Committee did a public participation on this bill, and issues raised by all stakeholders were put into consideration. We are dividing 2.4 trillion to national government, close to 9 billion to equalization fund, and about 420 billion to county governments. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, allow me to observe the following, that this bill will only be implementable if Treasury collects the 2.9 trillion. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, Treasury has not been able to collect about 110 billion of this financial year budget. And this, Speaker, if it's not checked, it may create and increase the number of pending bills for our contractors across the country. Two, Mr. Speaker, we must also call upon KRA to be realistic in their revenue targets so that whatever they target to collect, they tend to collect to the 100% or plus. Two, Mr. Speaker, for us to realize this bill and to be able to implement it well, Treasury must address the issue with the electronic government procurement system. And as you read the report of the Auditor General, Mr. Speaker, Auditor General says that this system has slowed down economic activities in the economy. This system has reduced the absorption of development funds. So, Mr. Speaker, as we do this, let us also put in mind that Treasury must also ensure that all challenges that are facing the EGP are addressed. Lastly, Speaker, the 2010 Constitution of Kenya on devolution really envisaged a devolution of economic activities within our counties. It not envisaged the devolution of corruption, devolution of employment bureaus, and devolution of creating small kings within our counties. Mr. Speaker, it is time to call our governors to order and ensure that the little resources that is being devolved to the counties is put to good use. My brother said that Turkana might be left behind on our journey to Singapore. I say those counties that are ready to go to Singapore should start moving. Thank you, Speaker.
Ndindi Nyoro, I'll give you the last.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this chance to contribute. And on the onset, Honorable Speaker, for the several years and even now, we must start walking the talk when it comes to devolution. Because, Honorable Speaker, when we are reading a budget in the upwards of 4 trillion shillings, and it's moving, of course, at a higher percentage even than what we give to our counties, Honorable Speaker, we need an introspection in this matter so that even as we demand more from our county governments, we do the same when it comes to allocation of resources. Because when you account for inflation, Honorable Speaker, the equitable share has not been growing. Even when we talk about from last financial year to this one, you realize that we are barely actually beating inflation when it comes to the allocation. And therefore it calls upon this House and also the Senate that we must be deliberate in our supporting our county governments, so that even as we ask for services and quality services from the county governments, Honorable Speaker, we need to do likewise in terms of allocation of resources to the devolved units. The second thing, Honorable Speaker, I want to highlight is that holistically and broadly, there are two important things that we must deliberate on and find a solution in terms of them. One is when it comes to ECD teachers, Honorable Speaker. Across all our counties, I am sure, honorable members, you have come across this request. And I hope that progressively we'll have an overarching body that harmonizes all our ECD teachers, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to negotiating for a better pay, but also when it comes to timely disbursement in terms of salaries, but more importantly, Honorable Speaker, even growth in that area. Honorable Speaker, I know this is much more broader than the current discussion today, but I'm just drawing this to all of us that we must get a solution when it comes to this. ECD teachers need a harmonizing body nationally so that, Honorable Speaker, their jobs are more or less defined and cut across all counties. The second thing, Honorable Speaker, is when it comes to health professionals, the doctors, and all the professionals in the health sector, in our county governments, Honorable Speaker. Over time, we may need an overarching body like TSC that takes care of their welfare, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to promotions, when it comes to moving from this county to the other. I don't think primarily it's a very good thing that when you are hired in this county, Honorable Speaker, that for you to get to another county.
Your time is up. Atandi.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity and also to thank members who have ventilated on this bill. Honorable Speaker, when I was moving the bill, as was presented. But some members of my party have castigated me for not talking about the 450 billion shillings, which was discussed in many forums, including this morning when we had the Kenya Kwanza and ODM-PG. I want to assure them that those agreements will somehow find their way into this bill before it is finally processed. I also want to say, Honorable Speaker, that I want to say that I go on record as the chairman who, during my tenure, county share of allocations went up the highest. Honorable Speaker, in the DORA Act, which is in force, we were able to raise county share of allocations by a whopping 29 billion. Honorable Speaker, this is the highest ever. So I think I need to be celebrated, Honorable Speaker, by members for that. And to challenge those people who are saying that we are not serious with devolution. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, you know we are very serious with devolution. And you know devolution was a creation of was an idea of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And you know that even in the 10-point agenda, the 450 billion, which was drawn and agreed upon, was his idea. So we want to assure everybody that we are very, very serious about devolution, but we want also to challenge governors to do their part, especially in the way they utilize their resources. They need to use these resources effectively. Most members are saying that it is possible that when you go to counties, you will see projects being undertaken by national government through donors and conditional grants. But when you check with them on the county share by locations, you hardly see projects. So this is a fact, Honorable Speaker, and this is something that happens in my county and most counties across the country. Even in my county, Honorable Speaker, you would find that there are so many national government projects, but you'll hardly find county government projects that are being undertaken. So these are things that we need to discuss as leaders and ensure that these monies are actually working for Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to reply.
Thank you. Majority Leader, take your seat. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 9, which is at the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026. Be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the equitable division of revenue raised nationally between the national and county governments in the 2026 and 2027 financial year and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole House.
All rise.
Honorable members, we are now considering the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026.
Schedule.
Chairperson. I now propose the question that the schedule be in the schedule of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I move that the schedule to the bill be deleted and substituted, therefore, with the following new schedule. Allocation of revenue raised nationally between the national government and the county governments for the financial year 2026-2027. And one, Honorable Chair, this amendment relates to the equalization fund allocations, which has gone up to 10,250,573,107.05. It has gone up because, Honorable Chair, we are considering the recent audited revenues for the year 2022-2023, which is 2,550,114,740,913, as opposed to the previous consideration, which was based on the audited revenues for the financial year 2021-2022. Therefore, it goes up by that amount, Honorable Chair. All other figures remain the same. Thank you.
I now propose the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the schedule as amended be the schedule of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 2, 3, and 4.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Okay, I'll take that again. I now propose the question that clause 2, clause 3, and clause 4, and clause 1. Okay, I'll repeat that. I propose the question that clause 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I now propose the question that the title be part of the bill. I now put the question that the title be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I now propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The mover? You may move the reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, and its approval thereof with amendments.
I will now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question. Let me make the announcement first. We are now on the Committee of the Whole House for the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that Clause 2 be part of the bill. I now put the question that Clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that Clause 3 be part of the bill. Mover? Okay, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Do we start with the minor GKs? Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that Clause 3 be amended in paragraph C by inserting the following proposed new subsections immediately after the proposed subsection 4B. Honorable Speaker, the amendment is just to create a term of office in line with the Government-Owned Enterprises Act, so that the board that is appointed into this for this institution serves for a period of 3 years and is eligible for reappointment for a further and final term of 3 years, meaning that in line with the Government-Owned Enterprises Act as passed by this House, any board member other than the ex-officio, that is the CEO, members of the board, can only serve for a period of 3 years, which is only renewable once. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move.
I now propose the question that Clause 3 be amended as proposed. I now put the question I now put the question that Clause 3 be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the... We need to go to the Chair Transport. Chairperson Transport, you have an amendment?
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that Clause 3 of the bill be amended in paragraph C by inserting the following new subsection immediately after the proposed new subsection 4B. That is, the functions of the board shall be to formulate the strategic direction of the fund, including strategic plans, investment plans, and policies, and B, set up administrative, governance, and financial management structures of the fund, and C, oversee the administration and management of the fund. D, coordinate the optimal utilization of the fund in implementing programs relating to the purpose for which the fund is established. And E, supervise the performance of the secretary to the board, officers, and staff of the fund. F, approve and review the annual work program and budget of the fund. And G, approve with the concurrence of the Cabinet Secretary the investment policy, investment plan, and risk threshold of the fund. And H, invest the funds of the board not immediately required for the purpose of this act in such a manner as it may determine. And D, perform any other function necessary to promote the objects and purpose of the fund. Honorable Speaker, these amendments seek to ensure clarity of mandate and strengthen accountability and promote effective and prudent administration of the fund in line with its objects and purpose. Honorable Speaker,
number 2 amendments, inserting the word and annually to the National Assembly immediately after the words at least once every 3 months in the proposed new subsection 4(1). The board, that it will read that the board shall submit to the secretary and to the cabinet secretary and cabinet secretary responsible for matters relating to railway transport at least once every 3 months and annually to the National Assembly reports detailing the inflows, outflows, and balances of the accounts established pursuant to subsection 4G. Honorable Speaker, the reason for this is to ensure that the purpose of the purpose of this amendment, Honorable Speaker, is to enhance transparency, strengthen parliamentary oversight, and promote accountability in the utilization of the fund. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
I now propose the question that clause 3 be further amended as proposed. I now put the question that clause 3 be further amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be part of the bill. I now put the question that the title be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I now propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Chairperson, mover, move reporting.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the House do agree.
Hold on, Honorable Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Atandi is very keen to finish his division of revenue. So he wants to grab even this one. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025, and its approval thereof with amendments.
I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, process, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025. 2025? Yeah, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable members, we shall begin with the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill. Mover. No, chair to move, yes. Chair to report.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025, and approved the same with amendments. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mover, thank you. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, and also request Honorable Naomi Wako to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Wako.
Honorable Speaker, I second. Thank you.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I put the question. Honorable members, I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025, be now read a third time. Honorable Speaker, as I request the Honorable Fatuma Full Network to second because of her diligence in her work. Honorable Speaker, you may have noted Honorable Fatuma is one among the chairs who diligently sit and patiently sit in the House waiting for her business. And because I know she has business that was due here last week when she excused herself to go for iftar, I hope today she will be able to at least move part of that business before it's time for iftar at, is it, I think at 10 minutes to 7. Let me say, Honorable Speaker, first thank members for the support in the passage of this bill that will radically change the management of our railway system and railway network in this country. We have now provided a framework that will enable us as a country to develop our rail infrastructure far beyond the SGR that initially RDLF was being used to maintain and also construct. That now RDLF can be used in the construction of even the metric gauge railway. We can see the development of light rail in this country, Honorable Speaker. And I look forward, together with the National Infrastructure Fund, these two funds being utilized, not only to extend the SGR beyond Suswa or Dukamoja, to Malaba, to Kisumu, to connect us with our neighboring countries, but also the development of a light rail system within the city of Nairobi. You saw last week, Honorable Speaker, what happened when it rained on Friday. The number of people who are getting home at 2, 3 a.m. because of traffic congestion. But if we had a light rail system within the city, we wouldn't even need to have the many cars that we've seen coming into the city. And I look forward to the implementation of this bill upon its passage, because it will radically change how we manage our rail network system. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to move and request the Honorable Fatuma Full Network, member for Migori County, to second.
Member for Migori, the very diligent one. I do not oppose that statement. Honorable Fatuma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to second.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025, be now read a third time.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I want to take the cue from my leader, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, who has passed the most fundamental bills in this parliament. I think most consequential bills in the life of this country have been moved in the 13th parliament, and they have always borne the name of Kimani Ichung'wah. And I think we need to congratulate the leader. But having said that, I want to take the cue from him that he's talking about taking the railway to the other side, connect Uganda. But I also want to use these funds to take the railway from Mombasa to Mtwapa, to Vipingo, the new Vipingo city, to Kilifi, to Malindi, to Lamu, and connected to Garissa, Isiolo, and the other side, Honorable Speaker, to Lokicha and go to Somalia and Ethiopia, Honorable Speaker, so that the Lapsset corridor can also have a railway. And I think that will be a fundamental development, because where there is a railway station, the town grows and thrives. And I think that is the spirit that we need to take this railway, so that it doesn't go to the other side alone, but also we take it to the other side. And I'll be glad to witness that during the reign of William Samoei Ruto. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Owen Baya. Honorable members, I therefore put the question, which is that the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2025, be now read a third time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act and for connected purposes.
Chairperson to report to the House.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, and approved the same with amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, and also request the Honorable Mukunji, member for Manyata, to second the motion for agreement with the reports of the Committee of the Whole House.
Member for Manyata.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And as I second this motion, Honorable Speaker, it's good that I say we do share revenue in this House. And it's also good to say, Honorable Speaker, that we also need to increase and improve the oversight of the divided revenue, Honorable Speaker, into counties. Honorable Speaker, I say this knowing very well that there has been an uproar from the governors, Honorable Speaker, claiming that they don't want to be oversighted and they don't want to be, Honorable Speaker, asked questions. And at one point, Honorable Speaker, I saw my governor apologizing for diverting 10 million Kenyan shillings, Honorable Speaker, in the Senate. So as I second this motion, Honorable Speaker, I call upon this House to see to it that revenue that has been put and given to counties is well used, well utilized, and also, Honorable Speaker, that the people, our people in those counties do feel that the money is working for them because it is our well and hard-earned taxes, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, lastly, it's good also to say that we have had a very challenging year because of the new system of procurement. And Honorable Speaker, I still wonder how much of our revenue this year that we passed with the budget of last year that has been utilized or absorbed in the various ministries due to the gridlock in the EGP procurement program, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, especially many of the counties are lagging behind in their usage of the revenue, and it is something that this House need to put into consideration. Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I therefore propose a question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover to move third reading.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that Division of Revenue Bill 2026, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026 be now read a third time. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to make one remark that in the previous division of revenue bills, there has always been a clause that in case of revenue shortages, that the shortages will be borne by national government and not county governments. I want to tell members that in this bill, that clause has been removed. And that going forward, if there is revenue shortages, all of us will bear the shortfalls. This is to ensure that we all, because national government has suffered in the process, and it has led us to, increase physical space to be able to accommodate those shortages. So this is something which I wanted the members to know. And lastly, I want to reiterate that the broad-based government is in full support of devolution. And you can see by the many engagements that we have had, including this morning when the Kenya Kwanza and ODMPG took place at KICC, and most of the members who are there, the resolutions that came out of that meeting. We are very sure that those resolutions shall not go in vain, and that somehow we will be able to adjust figures appropriately. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Mashako to second.
Thank you, Chair. I stand to second the bill as proposed by the mover. Thank you.
Honorable Mwashako, did you second the bill?
Do it, can I retake it, Madam Speaker?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to second.
Thank you. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, be now read a third time. Honorable members, I therefore put the question, which is that the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, be now read a third time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the equitable division of revenue raised nationally between the national and county governments in the 2026-2027 financial year and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 11, motion, report of the audited accounts for the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial years 2011, 2012 to 2021/2022.
Honorable members, Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee, as you move, I realize you have two. For the reason that had been raised by the majority leader, you will move them back to back. You'll prosecute both order 11 and 13, then we'll go back to order 12.
Thank you for that consideration, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the audited accounts for the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial year 2011-2012 to 2021-2022, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th August 2025. Honorable Speaker, in preparing this report, the committee relied on the Constitutional and Legal Provision on Public Finance Management Act 2012 and other enabling legislation as the basis for inviting the accounting officer of the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund to respond to issues raised by the Auditor General, as well as the additional information submitted on the administration performance. Honorable Speaker, following the examination of the audited reports, the committee made the following general observation and recommendations which apply across the 11 financial years under review. The fund failed to disclose the scheme administrator expenses and charges for 11 financial year, contrary to the regulations 101/4 of the national government PFM regulations. The committee recommended that within 3 months of the adoption of this report, the accounting officer should submit duly certified loan disbursement and repayment scheme for the Auditor General for audit verification. The committee observed that there was no disclosure of interest earned on mortgage and disbursement. Honorable Speaker, we realized that the mortgage fund that the institution was running, they needed to follow at least some of the regulations and borrow from other institutions that do have the same fund. We realized that the interest that they earn They do not even know how much they've earned as they leave the interest with the bank that is doing disbursing the loan on their behalf. The committee observed that the fund financial statement for each financial year were not submitted to the Auditor General within the statutory timelines following the closure of the respective financial years. The accounting officer was therefore found to be in breach of Section 68, 2K of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. The committee recommended that the accounting officer ensures timely submission of the accounting records and documentation required to audit verification in strict compliance with the Section 31/4 of the Public Audit Act 2015. The judiciary mortgage scheme lacks enabling legislation establishing the fund and has been operating without governing regulations. Consequently, the fund legality, official designation, and operational framework could not be confirmed. And on that note, the committee recommends that within 6 months of the adoption of this report, the accounting officer develop and operationalize appropriate regulations for the fund and submit the same to the Auditor General for audit verification. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, I wish to register my appreciation to the honorable members of the committee, the Office of the Speaker, and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly, parliamentary liaison officers of the Auditor General, and the Committee Secretariat for facilitating the work of the committee and making the production of this report possible. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and now request Honorable Kivasu, who is a member of our committee, to second the motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kivasu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this House adopts the report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the audited accounts of the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial years 2011-2012 to 2021/2022. The committee's examination of the Auditor General's reports over the 11-year period provides this House with an opportunity to strengthen oversight and ensure that public resources are properly safeguarded. Honorable Speaker, the committee realized the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund, in line with the submissions of financial statements, did not submit their financial statements on time, contrary to Public Finance Management Act 68, subclause 2K. Honorable Speaker, in reviewing the Auditor General's findings, the committee observed several weaknesses in the financial management of the fund that persisted over the years under review. For instance, the financial statements did not adequately disclose certain expenses associated with the administration of the scheme, including commission and bank-related charges incurred by the scheme administrator. In addition, the loan disbursement and repayment records submitted during the audit process were not properly certified, which made it difficult for the Auditor General to verify the completeness and accuracy of the transactions recorded by the fund. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme has been operating without a comprehensive and enabling legislative framework, relying largely on administrative arrangements. Without a clear legal and regulatory structure, the oversight, accountability, and operational clarity of the fund remain limited. It is therefore imperative that appropriate regulations and policy frameworks be developed to anchor the fund within the broader public finance management system and ensure its proper governance going forward. Honorable Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to second.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that this House adopts the report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the audited accounts for the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial years 2011-2012 to 2021-2022, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th August 2025. Honorable members, there are many members indicated on the screen. I'm not sure whether it's for this. Honorable member for Kaiti, are you in the House? Jerry Maina? Honorable Lotte, are you on this? Honorable members, for order and good order, Can we indicate through the intervention if you're willing to speak on this? Member Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the debate on this report. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to thank the Chair and her committee for actually bringing this report to the floor of the House. Because, Honorable Speaker, just looking at the issues that have been raised by the committee and what has been observed, it is quite clear that this particular fund is not being properly managed, and that it needs a bit more scrutiny. Because, Honorable Speaker, it doesn't make sense why judiciary has allowed for their mortgage scheme fund to go into a bank. Because already the mortgages that the judiciary members are undertaking is already subjected to interest. Then now when this particular fund is again deposited into a bank, again, there's interest that is accrued to it. Honorable Speaker, that speaks to the accounting language of double interest on the same particular fund. So, Honorable Speaker, this is one issue, and I really wish that the committee can even delve further into the reports for the current financial years, because if this was happening in the financial year of 2021-2022, it means that it is probably the same scenario at this particular moment, that it is ongoing. And so if we are able to actually identify this as an issue, I'm just wondering about the subsequent financial years that the committee has not even been able to go to. And this particular one is a very serious matter. And so, Honorable Speaker, for me, my contribution to this particular one is that I think the judiciary mortgage scheme and the accounting officer for the judiciary needs to actually undertake this and review how they are actually managing this fund if they want it to have prosperity and for it to be able to assist the members. With those few remarks, I support the report from the committee. I thank you.
Very well. Member for Kitui Central, Honorable Makali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you can say I to relocate from my desk. I don't know what has happened to my system. Somebody came there and I did fun things and I can't access the system.
Now I can see you.
But I want to thank you for this opportunity and thank the Committee on Special Programs, Honorable Speaker, for this report on the judiciary mortgage scheme. I've listened to the chair of the committee moving the report and the seconding by Honorable Kipasu, Honorable Speaker. It raised quite some fundamental issues, and more so issues to do with accountability, Honorable Speaker. I got a bit surprised when Honorable Kipasu was saying that we need more law in terms of regulations and all that. And I was asking myself, Honorable Speaker, whether this country is short of laws governing public finances. Honorable Speaker, if you look at our Constitution, it is a whole chapter 12 of our Constitution. It talks about public finances. And it provides a very broad framework in terms of what needs to be done when you're handling public resources. To put more emphasis on that, Honorable Speaker, we have our own law called Public Finance and Management Act, which has been revised many times. And that law provides much more details than the Constitution on how to manage public resources. And then to make things worse, Honorable Speaker, we have Public Finance Management Act regulations, Honorable Speaker. So these three pieces of legislation, Honorable Speaker, provide very detailed framework on how to use public resources. So I can say authoritatively, Honorable Speaker, that we don't have shortage of law. What we have is lack of enforcement of law. And at times, Honorable Speaker, this is deliberate. Accounting officers have taken these public resources as their own pocket money, Honorable Speaker. And when it comes to using these resources, they forget that they should adhere to the law as it is written, Honorable Speaker. So, all these issues being raised by this report, Honorable Speaker, are issues which, to me, from where I stand, I can say it's just deliberate that accounting officers want to take advantage and as a result misuse these resources. You put such a resource into a bank account, Honorable Speaker,
And some of these private banks is where we would expect things to be done correctly, Honorable Speaker. But when we listen to the gaps being explained here, it shows really we need to do something. And what worries me most is what my chair, regional integration, has mentioned, Honorable Speaker. We are looking at a report of about 21, 22, Honorable Speaker. Now, imagine that problem has persisted for up to date. And more likely, it has not been captured, Honorable Speaker. So we've not addressed the challenge. And I think really, even as we look at some of these audit reports coming from our committees, I think it's important, Honorable Speaker, we look at what can we do to some extent stop this continuous misapplication, misuse of public resources. Because we can't be a country where we claim we have not enough money and we are borrowing left and right from everywhere, and the little money we get, which is our own money from our taxes, Honorable Speaker, and Kenyans have been very faithful to pay taxes, that amount where our people are paying taxes, that we cannot manage. The Constitution is very clear. We need prudent management of public resources, Honorable Speaker. So this kind of reports, Honorable Speaker, I think as a House, we need to move to the next level. The sanctions, Honorable Speaker. We need to start talking about what sanctions can we impose on some of these accounting officers who misapply these resources, so that as we move to the future, Honorable Speaker, people will know that when you misapply or misuse public resources, you will be punished for whatever you do, Honorable Speaker. And if we go that direction, Honorable Speaker, then we'll start getting better audit reports from our committees, and our committees will be taken seriously. Otherwise, majority of the people now, majority of the Kenyans, think that these reports are just a talk show. We come here, talk about them, we go home, all smiling, we have talked about them. Nothing is done, Honorable Speaker. It is time this House proves to Kenyans that we have truth and we can bite, Honorable Speaker. With those my remarks, I support.
Member for Manyata.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have discussed many audit reports here, Honorable Speaker, and one thing that is consistent, Honorable Speaker, is the backlog of the audit reports. Today we are discussing and receiving a report of the audit report for 2020, 2011, 2012, Honorable Speaker, 2021, 2022. Honorable Speaker, that tells you that even if the committee finds issues with the audit report, you will find mostly that even the officers that were in charge, most likely, have already left those institutions, or Honorable Speaker, they will look like it's a simple witch hunt. Honorable Speaker, this begs the question, why are we lagging behind, Honorable Speaker, on audit? And Honorable Speaker, I look at this and also look at the other side of the private sector. And as we say, there is a lot of bureaucracy in government, but we need to realize that we are handling public fund. Honorable Speaker, I beg to say that, as a matter of fact, private institutions that present their audits every year, and it's required in everything that these institutions are doing, are run better, and it is supposed to be the reverse. Public funds, Honorable Speaker, are supposed to be audited and keenly audited, as a matter of fact, quarterly. And they are supposed to be getting, we are supposed to be getting reports, Honorable Speaker, in this House in time. And if I look at this trend of audit reports, it means that, Honorable Speaker, in 2030, it is when the audit reports of 2025 are going to be tabled in this House. Honorable Speaker, I call upon this House to see what best way we can do to ensure that audit reports are up to date and they make impact. Honorable Speaker, we wake up every day to questions in the use of our public funds.
Today, as we are speaking, Honorable Speaker, there is a newspaper article screaming, Honorable Speaker, of loss of close to 50 billion Kenya shillings in our healthcare insurance system, SHA, Honorable Speaker. And there's nothing more painful, Honorable Speaker, than reading a newspaper article that says money that has been contributed by people who want to get better health care, Honorable Speaker, has been misappropriated. And I want to actually say, Honorable Speaker, the only way to avoid and ensure that these people don't enrich themselves and go away with what we have seen, Honorable Speaker, is updated, timely audit reports. So that, Honorable Speaker, we get to actually put people into account, ensure that people go to jail if they have misused resources, and, Honorable Speaker, that public resources are used well. We have increased taxes, Honorable Speaker. In this regime, taxes have been increased. We have borrowed excessively, Honorable Speaker. The public demands that those resources must be well used. And this House has a role to play to ensure that audit reports are not just mere reports that will just go to shelves of this House and nothing happens afterwards. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honorable Mwashako, I see you beckoning, but I don't see you here in the system. Are you intending to speak on this? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving an opportunity to support the report, the audit report from the Committee of Special Funds. Honorable Speaker, I want to share, I share the sentiments of my colleagues that judiciary, I want to believe they can do better. Having a mortgage scheme that is solely to support the staff of our able judiciary, we do not expect that judiciary should abdicate their duty and give this fund to a commercial bank, Honorable Speaker. I hear and I read the report, it's clear that judiciary have chosen not to manage this fund themselves. They have chosen to give it to a bank. And we know, Honorable Speaker, commercial banks in this country exist to make money. And when we came up with this fund, Honorable Speaker, it is purely for the benefit of our staff who works for judiciary. And this is similar to what happens in Parliament. We have a parliamentary mortgage scheme that is managed purely by Parliamentary Service Commission, Honorable Speaker. So I don't see why judiciary, as it's constituted, to abdicate their role, give the fund to a bank. A bank charges, I'm told, charges about 3% of administrative and management fee. You can imagine, Honorable Speaker, that denies the fund growth. Because normally when you offer these loans to staff and they pay on interest, the interest is supposed to make sure the fund grows for sustainability. And now when you give it to a bank, what happens is the bank will make money and then the fund will remain stagnant. So in case there is any default, Honorable Speaker, then the fund will not be sustainable, Honorable Speaker. So I want to call upon this committee that oversights this fund to call judiciary accounting officers to order. They must renegotiate what they have with the bank, return this fund to be managed by judiciary itself, Honorable Speaker. Second, Honorable Speaker, this country we have a number of funds that is until last Parliament under J.B. Muturi's tenure as Speaker is when this Committee of Special Funds was created. Previously, there was no audit of any special fund in the country. So many parastatals, many organizations, many state-owned enterprises created special funds, Honorable Speaker, to, I don't want to use the word siphon and misappropriate funds, Honorable Speaker, but it was a silent agreement that they created a special fund, and then corruption was part and parcel of the objective of those funds, Honorable Speaker. But today, Honorable Speaker, this special fund is doing a commendable job. And it looks like it is behind schedule. Because like today we are looking at audited accounts from 2011 2011-2012 financial year to 2021-2022 financial year, Honorable Speaker. That's about in excess of 10 years. It looks like we are behind schedule as Parliament, as Special Funds Committee. But this is because that previous years there was no committee that was oversighting these funds. The Auditor General was not able to look at the books of these special funds. But today we want to laud that decision that was made in the last Parliament and laud the committee that is chaired by our sister Honorable Full Network that we can be able to know what happens in these funds. And as I said, Honorable Speaker, it is painful that funds that are intended to support staff, are intended to support growth of staff welfare. Sometimes they get misappropriated. You hear, and I read this report, and it indicates very clearly that the accounting officer did not cooperate with the auditor, because every document that was required, a fraction was provided. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we must, as a country, we must put more, effort to increase our oversight, but at the same time to take auditors' reports extremely serious, so that then we can get value of the money that we pay as taxes, and every shilling that has been planned to go towards enabling either, every sector of our economy. Let us find value for the shilling that we put in. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this report, and I beg to request that this committee continue doing a good job. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Passaris, not on this. Honorable members, I do not see more interest in this, so I'll ask the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate all honorable members who took their time to contribute and help us understand how we should do it better. And I hope that the Judiciary Fund are also looking into our comments here, and the comments that we made, the observations that we made, I believe that the implementation committee will follow them up so that the fund grows better than it is now. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You beg to reply.
I beg to reply, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable members, we shall defer the putting of the question on this. As directed earlier, the next order should go to order number 13.
Order number 13, motion, report on the audited accounts for the Commodities Fund for the financial years 2018-19 to 2021-2022.
Chairperson, Special Funds.
Thank you once more, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopt the 5th report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the report of the audited financial statement for Commodity Fund for the financial year 2018-2019, 2019-2020, 2020-2021, 2021-2022, laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 7th December 2023. Honorable Speaker, while auditing these accounts, the Commodities Fund, the committee received oral and written submission from Ms. Nancy Cheriot, Managing Trustee for Commodities Fund, regarding the audited financial statement for the financial years 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022. The committee also held meetings with the Principal Secretary, State Department for Crop Development, and Managing Director of Agricultural Finance Corporation regarding the audit query on uncovered funds transferred to the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development from the Commodities Fund, and the audit query raised in the financial year 2019-2020 regarding unreconciled inter-fund transaction. The submission formed the basis of the committee's observation, finding, and recommendations. Honorable Speaker, in preparing this report, the committee relied on the constitutional and legal provision of Public Finance Management Act 2012 and other enabling legislation as the basis for inviting the accounting officer of Commodity Fund to respond to issues raised by the Auditor General. Following the examination of the audited report, the committee made the following observations and recommendations which apply across the 4 years. The fund inherited non-performing loans from the Agriculture and Food Authority, and the Sugar Board and the Coffee Development Fund, including principal and interest arrears. Despite recovery efforts, the loans remain unrecovered due to the nature of the guarantees. The committee recommends that the accounting officer seek authority under Section 69 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 to write off the inherited non-performing debts and accrued interest and provide a progress report on the status of the write-off process. Honorable Speaker, in all these years, we realized that the questions kept on coming as this was not dealt with. So if they can be helped to find a way of writing it off, as the committee has recommended, so that we don't waste a lot of time in every financial year, the same issue reoccurs. The fund had not established a body corporate which perpetual succession and common seal, limiting its liability to sue or be sued. Moreover, the Cropped Act 2013 of number 13 of 2013, which established the fund, does not clearly define the mandate, powers, and responsibility of the Fund's Board of the Trustees, affecting its independence and operational effectiveness. In that regard, Honorable Speaker, if we have a board that is toothless, then there's no need of having the board, because they cannot make any recommendation, they cannot make any decision, and anything that they would say would be null and void, because they are toothless. So we, as the committee, recommended that the accounting officer, through the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development, prepare and submit a statutory instruments to the National Assembly to address these legal and statutory gaps. The committee noted that the State Department for Crop Development, the Commodities Fund, the Agriculture Finance Corporation, and Agriculture Food Authority, AFA, had unreconciled balances which had since been reconciled. The parties were currently working on repayment modalities for the outstanding principal and interest. Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that the Principal Secretary, State Department for Crop Development, refunds 40 million to the Commodities Fund within the financial year 2023-2024. Honorable Speaker, this one we will recommend highly that the implementation committee looks into it, because 40 million for such a small fund, if they are not paid, for sure this fund will not continue. It will definitely flop. And this debt has been there for quite a long time. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to register my appreciation to the honorable members of the committee, the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk of the National Assembly, the parliamentary liaison officers and the Auditor General and the Committee Secretariat for facilitating the work of the committee and making the production of this report possible. Honorable Speaker, I must highly appreciate my committee members. In fact, in our committee, Honorable Speaker, we have never lacked quorum since I became a chair. We are a committee of 15 members. At least we normally have 13 to 12 members present at every sitting. And we have never adjourned due to lack of quorum. So I must appreciate my committee members. And Honorable Speaker, may I tell you, may I bring it to your attention, that my committee has 8 women. Now that tells you why we always have quorum. And the chair of the committee is a woman. And the chair of a committee is a first-timer. Honorable Speaker, women can do it. We have done it.
What is out of order, Honorable Mark Mwenje?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt the chair, but is it in order for her to try and imply that the only time you can have quorum is if you have women? Is she implying
Honorable
that
Mwenje,
men do not attend committees?
Honorable Mwenje,
Can she withdraw that remark,
Honorable
Honorable
Mwenje,
Speaker?
Honorable Fatuma has stated facts. Unless you have contrary, unless you have a committee that has more men and has greater quorum, then I don't see what is out of order. Honorable Fatuma.
Honorable Mwenje, it is a reality. Honorable Speaker, just throw your eyes around. How many women are in this house right now? Women can do it better. Bottom line is, we are all members of parliament, and I congratulate all the members who are present in this house. I congratulate my committee for making our work easy, and I beg to request Honorable Kivasu to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kivasu is amongst the minority in your committee. Member for
Honorable
Moni.
Speaker, I'm one of the men who are usually present out of the 7 in the Special Fund Accounts Committee. So we are proud that we are led by a lady and we are always there to support her. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this House adopts the 5th report of the Special Fund Accounts Committee on its consideration of the Auditor General's report on the financial statements for the Commodities Fund for the years 2018, 2019 to 2021, 2022. The Commodities Fund plays a significant role in supporting the agricultural sector by providing credit facilities to farmers for farm inputs, farm improvements, agricultural infrastructure, and value addition. The effective management of such a fund is therefore critical to ensuring that farmers have access to affordable financing while safeguarding public resources entrusted to the fund. Honorable Speaker, the committee's review of the Auditor General's reports reviewed notable weaknesses in the management and reconciliation of loan transactions within the fund. For instance, the committee noted a significant discrepancy between the loan repayments recorded in the system and the amounts actually deposited into the bank accounts. Madam Speaker, this led to some confusion as to whether they are really using a computer system, because when a computer system is usually used, then you expect to get right information, although we say garbage in, garbage out. So I hope they have not been putting in garbage. But, Honorable Speaker, the committee also noted challenges relating to unidentified receipts and long outstanding loan balances. Some receipts deposited into the fund's accounts could not be linked to specific farmers or loan accounts. That again causing a problem whether they are using a computer system or manual systems, indicating weaknesses in record keeping and financial monitoring systems. This committee further observed that some loan records that had remained unresolved for several years without adequate explanations or corrective measures. Such gaps in financial management reduce the reliability of financial statements and undermine confidence in the administration of the fund. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the committee observed various financial management challenges affecting the performance of the fund, such as significant revenue shortfalls and substantial over-expenditure resulting largely from provisions made for bad and doubtful loans. Such trends highlight the need for stronger financial planning, prudent lending practices, and effective recovery mechanisms to protect public resources while ensuring that the fund continues to serve its intended purpose of supporting agricultural development. I therefore urge this House to adopt this report of the committee so as to strengthen accountability, transparency, and sustainability in the management of the Commodities Fund. Honorable Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to second.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that this House adopts the 5th report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the report of the audited financial statements for the Commodities Fund for the financial years 2018-2019, 2019-2020, 2020-2021, and 2021-2022, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 7th December 2023. Honorable Pasaris, not on this. Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu.
You know, Honorable Speaker, the more you listen to these reports, Honorable Speaker, the more you listen to these reports, the more you get annoyed as a Kenyan. Because, Honorable Speaker, when you look at this commodity fund and the objective of this fund, this is a very important fund to this country because it's supposed to be assisting our farmers access farm inputs and get resources which they can use to improve their farming activities, Honorable Speaker. But unfortunately, when you look at when you listen to the report of the Auditor General and the report of our special committee, Honorable Speaker, for consecutive 4 years, there are cross-cutting challenges relating to this commodity fund. And at times, when you listen at the challenges, Honorable Speaker, that issues like receipts could not be filed properly. Issues like doubtful debts could not be recorded properly, Honorable Speaker. You ask yourself, is it that they have not hired accountants? Is it that they have no financial experts? Or is it that somebody has buried his or her head in the sand to allow this to happen? And the latter, to me, is what is more likely. That people have deliberately taken a decision that we are not going to be accountable. And Honorable Speaker, I do sit in the Budget Committee. And this country have created a number of funds. And you'll be surprised, Honorable Speaker, for the last 2 years, almost all the funds we have created have issues and more accountability issues. If you look at the Hustler Fund, the other day, 12 billion cannot be accounted, cannot be recovered. Look at the Women Fund, challenges. Look at the WOSO Fund, challenges. Look at the National Youth Fund, challenges. Now this is another one called Commodity Fund, challenges. Just immediately now we have discussed the mortgage fund for the judiciary, challenges. Is it time we said enough is enough with these funds, and we allowed people to use money from using the general budgeting process, Honorable Speaker? Because it looks like we are creating these funds as a special purpose vehicle to serve some very specific objective, but at the end of the day, they become vehicles for siphoning off public resources and misapplication of resources. So, Honorable Speaker, as I've said many times, I think as a country we must make a serious decision. We must take a very serious decision. Either we use public resources as anticipated in our constitution, or we have free for all, and then we say let every Kenyan take a share of the public resources, we go home and forget about a country called Kenya. So to me, these reports, when they come to this house, they make some of us very annoyed who have financial background, because we see serious carelessness in terms of managing public resources. How I wish we could change. So I want to repeat what I said earlier, Honorable Speaker. This house must come up with a very clear framework on how to sanction accounting officers who are not able to account for public resources. I support.
Member for Kaiti, Honorable Kimilu. You're not in the house. Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this report. And once again, to thank the very diligent chair, the Honorable Fatuma Full Network, my sister, for the good work that she's doing with this committee, and to tell her to keep doing the good work. Honorable Speaker, looking at this particular fund, the Commodities Fund, it's actually very sad, some of the observations that the committee was able to make. One of them being that the fund inherited non-performing loans from the Agriculture and Food Authority, the Defunct Sugar Board, and the Coffee Development Fund, and including principals and interest arrears. This means, Honorable Speaker, that this is a fund that is already experiencing so many problems, and then they have more load added onto it that they can't even manage. Honorable Speaker, there's also the issue where they are owed arrears from the Department for Crop Development, 40 million shillings. And it is said here that the Commodity Fund should actually have realized this money within the financial year of 2023-2024. And we are in financial year 2025-2026, meaning that this has not even been done yet. And Honorable Speaker, even with the issues that this particular fund is experiencing, and then you add on to the fact that they have arrears, they have adopted funds that are not even working, non-performing loans. Honorable Speaker, this is an issue that is very grave. And I just want to commend the committee, because I can see the committee has made recommendations that should ideally be resolved as soon as possible. But the question is, how realistic is this again? Because again, Honorable Speaker, when you look at this particular report, we are looking at a report for a couple of financial years ago. We've not even gone into the ones that are current. So it means that probably if they don't already have more issues that have piled up to the ones that they already have, this is a fund that ideally is operating on an environment where they are just being helped by the grace of God, literally. Because the issues that they have are too many. And I really empathize with the committee, because then they have to be one of the solution providers and recommenders of solutions that can actually work with them. And I just want to urge the committee to just keep up with the good work and see if they can actually try and catch up with the current financial years for them to be able to actually enhance or establish whether or not that the issues that they're raising now are issues that are still ongoing, or that there are more additional problems that have been incurred by this particular fund, and what it is that they can do to actually have a blanket solution for all these particular issues. With those few remarks, I support and I submit. I thank you.
Honorable Gitonga, John.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, Commodities Fund is a very familiar term in my constituency. Honorable Speaker, many of my factories, coffee factories, have always had debts, Honorable Speaker, from Commodities Fund. Honorable Speaker, the establishment of this fund that was done in the year 2013 under the Crops Act, 2013, the 11th Parliament, and I believe the 11th Parliament has passed quite consequential laws, Honorable Speaker, that requires a review and strengthening by this Parliament. And Honorable Speaker, one of the most progressive idea was the Commodities Fund under the Crops Act of 2013. And one of the reasons why I say that is because one of the promises that was made by this regime, Honorable Speaker, was something we call guaranteed minimum return on, Honorable Speaker, our produce. And Honorable Speaker, one of the reasons why this government might be chased away in 2027 is because of lack of achievement of this, Honorable Speaker. This Commodities Fund, one of its mandate was to do something called price stabilization, which is basically a guaranteed minimum return on investment. And Honorable Speaker, I had a case in the constituency where a factory that doesn't even have much of its assets, Honorable Speaker, having borrowed 60 million Kenya shillings. And that money had disappeared in the thin air, Honorable Speaker. And as we are speaking here, we have passed 2 billion Kenya shillings last year to actually clear the debt that was borrowed by many coffee factories, Honorable Speaker, under the Commodities Fund. Honorable Speaker, what does this say? Today, we are here auditing, receiving the report of the year 2022 from 2018. And Honorable Speaker, it tells you this same Commodities Fund that we have given 6 billion Kenya shillings in the year 2023, most probably, and maybe our chair might be even have advanced out of this house when we'll be auditing the 6 billion that we give this fund in the year 2023. It tells you that, Honorable Speaker, there is a need to relook the Crop Act and see how we can make sure that there is more stringent measures to ensure we don't lose, Honorable Speaker, these hard-earned taxes of our people, Honorable Speaker. And at the same time, Honorable Speaker, ensure that we strengthen our farming and our produce moving forward. Honorable Speaker, I also want to take toll to what one of the honorable members has said. We have so many funds, and even as early as yesterday, Honorable Speaker, we were signing another fund, infrastructure fund, Honorable Speaker. And it is sad that we are discussing here, and I've heard Chair say clearly that there is a need for the PS to refund 40 million Kenya shillings. And she has said she's not joking with that. Today, we have passed so many funds and others have been ignored, Honorable Speaker. When we talk of Hustlers Fund, and I'm here to hear the chair talk about Hustlers Fund and its audit report, because I know we are going to explode in this house when that report comes here. The fact of the matter is that this house must put its foot down, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to auditing of this fund. That's the only way. I would be shocked to hear the 3 trillion that might come through in the infrastructure fund have been misused, Honorable Speaker, and it is audited when this house has actually gone beyond even 5 years. So it tells you there is no action that is going to be taken to the culprits of misuse of our resources. Honorable Speaker, the same taxpayer that we put and give them power to when we form these funds are the same ones that suffer when these resources are not returned back. And that is a question that this house we need to ask. Why would we continue bailing out factories of coffee when some funds that were given to some people who are chairmen and leaders of these institutions have misused? Some might have even used these funds to run for political seats, and they become untouchable. Honorable Speaker, as we appreciate the chair and our team of ladies for making quorum, Honorable Speaker, and one man, Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that we need more from your committee. You have a lot to work on to ensure that you are at par with what we are giving as resources in taxes, Honorable Speaker. And, Honorable Speaker, this House must also relook the Crop Act to see if we can be able to ensure these funds are well secured and are well paid and in time, Honorable Speaker, so that we don't continue losing resources. And as I say and I repeat, that implementation of guaranteed minimum return on things such as tea, coffee, macadamia, Honorable Speaker, is something that is going to determine if this regime is going to be thrown out in 2027. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Very well. Honorable Member for Embakasi West, Mark Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the onset, let me congratulate the chair and also reiterate, Honorable Speaker, that I also sit in a committee where there are only 2 ladies and 13 men, and we've never lacked quorum. So you can be sure that the 2 women, while they give us quorum, they must have men in that committee to get quorum. Honorable Speaker, like so many other funds, I want to join the Honorable Makali, as he mentioned. There are so many funds in this country, you know. We have the Wezo Fund, Women Fund, and now we have the Commodities Fund. And these funds play a very vital role in our country. Now, this is a fund that is, as explained, assists with agricultural inputs of various kinds, which are of help to our farmers. Honorable Speaker, one of the main issues you'll notice is that food security in our country, unlike our neighbor on the western side, Uganda, their food security is much better than ours. So this is a vital fund. It can help us. We know that there is fertilizer, whether it's subsidized. There are times the costs are a bit high, and this is what can assist. Honorable Speaker, like all these other funds, like Uwezo Fund, we have an issue with the funds that are made available during the budget cycle. And more importantly, these loans, even how they are managed, both for Uwezo, both for Women Fund, they are facing the same challenges. How do we collect on these loans? How do we ensure that these resources are not lost? That is the key issue that the Auditor General needs to advise us on. Honorable Speaker, one of the things that I would request the chair to even to put to the Auditor General is that we need to know more on these safeguarding measures that the Auditor General would recommend to us, that even if we need to change the laws that apply to all these funds, we're able to do it in a proper manner so that we ensure that this money is not lost. Two, all these officers who manage these funds, the fund managers, so to call them, we require them to be diligent and ensure that all these people who get funds, whether it's Uwezo, whether it's Women Fund, whether it's a Commodities Fund, that they are held accountable. We know at times there's favoritism that happens out there, and they end up giving people the money to maybe people who they would prefer or they would favor. This is what we really need to crack down, Honorable Speaker. And I know that's an issue that has happened even with the Uwezo Fund. But in areas there, we've been able to track them, to track down, to get the right people. Then this money, it's easily collected, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issue also of training some of these farmers, some of these groups who borrow this money, there's no training, because at times you find these funds don't have the component for training. At times, they don't even have the money to provide for maybe whether the committees that are responsible for these funds, that money is not even available to them. It's something that we really need to look at our budget process and make those funds available. These funds, if we look after them properly, they can work in the same way the NGCDF and the NGAF have worked for this country, and they can really change the dynamics of our people out there, and more so in this case, when it comes to the Commodities Fund and what it can do for our agricultural sector. Otherwise, I want to just thank the chair for a job well done, but I also want to echo the comments of the Honorable Mayaka that it is important for these reports, in order for these audited reports to have legal and binding status on some of the decisions, whether you've decided to surcharge an accounting officer. When you bring an audited report for the year 2018, 2019, up to 21, 22, then unfortunately, depending with the language, some of the actions that the committee might have taken might be limited because of the time, because these reports, once released by the Auditor General, we only have 3 months to debate these reports. But if you are able, and I thank the Auditor General, if we are able to bring those prior unresolved issues and you bring them all the way forth to the current financial year, then those issues remain outstanding and they can be binding. That's, I think, the approach that this House needs to take when it comes to these reports. And I'm glad to see that most of the audit committees, for most of the reports that they're going through, they're now doing all the reports up to the current financial year that is being audited, 2024, 2025, so that we ensure that any action that was taken in the past can be brought forward and action can be taken. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you.
Honorable Passaris.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to contribute to the motion on the report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on the audited report for the Commodities Fund for the financial years under consideration. First, I commend the committee under the leadership of Honorable Fatuma Full Network for undertaking its oversight role in reviewing the management and utilization of the fund. Oversight is one of the most important responsibilities of this House, particularly where funds are meant to directly support the livelihoods of our people. Honorable Speaker, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy, and millions of Kenyans depend on agricultural commodities, commodities such as coffee, sugar, and other crops for their livelihoods. Funds such as the Commodities Fund were established to stabilize these sectors, strengthen community and commodities, value chains, and support farmers in accessing markets and fair returns. However, Honorable Speaker, the true measure of any commodity fund is not the reports that we're tabling in Parliament. It is the income a farmer takes home at the end of the season. Many farmers across the country continue to struggle with low prices, delayed payments, weak market structures. This raises the fundamental concern as to whether the resources allocated through such funds are actually reaching farmers in a meaningful and timely manner. Honorable Speaker, as we speak about the economic empowerment and the bottom-up transformation of our economy, we must remember that farmers form the foundation of this vision. Strengthening commodity fund must therefore translate into better prices, improved productivity, access to markets, and value addition within the agricultural sector. At the same time, we must ensure that these funds are managed to the highest standard of transparency, efficiency, and accountability, so that they do not become administrative structures that consume resources without delivering tangible benefits to the intended beneficiaries. Honorable Speaker, if properly managed, the Commodities Fund can play a critical role in revitalizing our agricultural sector, strengthening farmer incomes, and enhancing Kenya's competitiveness in regional and global markets. With those remarks, I support the adoption of the committee's report and urge all those that are entrusted with funds, various funds, to do so much for our people, to really start managing those funds well. Because this is where we begin to show that we are a government for a people and government that is working for the people. So if you're entrusted, whether you're a chair, you're a board member, you're an office executive, if you have been given a fund, we don't want to have members standing here and saying that some of those funds were misused and maybe members used it to come back and get re-elected. I mean, we need to honestly put the money to serve the Kenyan people. And when we do that, then Kenya will be able to transform itself from developing to developed. We will move from being dependent to interdependent to independent. So, Honorable Speaker, I support and I really commend the committee for trying to ensure that they get up to date in terms of audits. That was a big problem that we saw when I came in the last parliament. But in this parliament, I can see we're trying to do the catch-up so that we are up to date with all the reports that we need to table in this House. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
Member for Mumias East, Honorable Salasia.
Madam Speaker, I want to rise to support the committee's report on the following grounds. You're all aware that the commodity fund is one of the key critical funds that could have transformed this country's economy. And I remember last year when the president came to Mumias Sugar, one of the things that I raised there is that we have some loans that are being owed by the Mumias Sugar Outgrowers Company. And the commodity fund was it's holding or is looking forward to receive money from the outgrowers, Mumias Sugar Outgrowers, of about 60 million. So my question has been, it has taken us almost a year without getting a clear report on the recommendation, and even when the president advised that we need those loans of Mumias Sugar Outgrowers to be written off. Up to now, there's been no any significant report on that until today when we are having this report in this House. So I think it is very high time that the commodity fund needs to be serious with its work, because if we could have received that, those loans could have been written off, and the properties that are being held by the commodity fund gets back to the farmers of Mumias Sugar, then the farmers could be able to develop cans and use it and even repay that loan in a much better, easier way. So my recommendation on this is to ask this house that most of the funds are not performing well because of lack of the AIE, that is the authority to incur the expense. Because you find, like, even we take an example of Uwezo Fund. Uwezo Fund has been able to do tremendous work, but you realize that there's no funding to help to look for those, maybe train the people on how to do those, repay back the loans and all that. And this one should cut across in all the funds that are there. Women Enterprise Fund, KIE, all of them, they can really play a very big role because we are coming up with the Hustler Fund, but we have other funds that we have not yet utilized them into the full capacity. So I want to stand here to support the report and ask that the immediate write-off of all the loans and asking the commodity fund to return all the properties, could be the tractors, could be the land, back to the farmers of Mumias Sugar and others, even the Busia outgrowers, so that farmers can now focus and rebuild themselves to build the economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
Very well. Member for Kaiti. And this is the second time I'm calling you, so.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity, and I'm sorry because you called me the second time. I want Madam Speaker to take this time and first congratulate the committee for the good job they have done, because, Madam Speaker, this commodity fund, Madam Speaker, is very important to this country. Madam Speaker, I think once these funds can be used like now what we are doing with the CDF, whereby the money is going direct to the common, the normal, that person down there in the local Mwananchi. I think it can be of benefit, Madam Speaker. This money, when we talk of agriculture, Madam Speaker, like there are areas whereby they grow coffee, they grow tea, they need to be supported, Madam Speaker. And I think some funds like this one can also be set aside to help those farmers and grow their commodities, Madam Speaker. When we talk of, Madam Speaker, and disaster preparedness, in our country we have a challenge, Madam Speaker, and rains come, rains go, and we still have the same problem, Madam Speaker. I think some of these funds, they can be set aside for disaster preparedness, because it's like as a country we have not reached a point whereby we have enough preparedness to disasters in this country, Madam Speaker. I think when the committee was tabling the report, I was keenly listening to the report, and I went through the report, and I think this is a good job they are doing, and we need to support it. And I think if we go to this direction, what I can request the committee is that, as my colleague have said, we update this one to be, we can have the current one for like 2023, 2024, so that we can be close to the year, so to avoid discussing things which are taken by event or are taken long. And I think because they are doing a good job, I know they'll make it. And next time as they table the report, we want to see a report which is current and which is capturing the 2020, like the current years. Thank you, Madam Speaker, I support.
Very well. Honorable Wako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support this report, and I also congratulate the committee for working very hard and bringing this very important report to this House. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the report, the years that this report covers is 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, which was far beyond this regime's time. Honorable Speaker, it is good that we are trying to catch up with the lost years, and we are trying very hard so that audited report can be tabled. But I've heard of members who are trying to blame this government for this work, which might not work well for them, because this report is mainly for the other regime that was there. And I thank this government and also the committee members who have tabled this. And Honorable Speaker, this commodity fund is quite important in our nation, because the fund itself is supposed to support our farmers. And we know very well that majority of our farmers in this country are not well off, and they need a lot of financial support for them to also do enough farming and also have enough produce. Honorable Speaker, the purpose of this fund is for farm improvement, farm input, farm operation, and price stabilization. And unless we do this, our farmers may not be able to have enough to do their farming and also enough produce. Again, the fund is so friendly because when you look at it, the subsidized interest rate is from 3% maybe to 7.5, which cannot be compared to any loan that one is able to get from the banks. And again, there is that special arrangement for friendly repayment plans, which is very good with our farmers because of the low income. And if they have that special program, then they can be able even to service their loans and also be able to provide for their families. So, Honorable Speaker, mine is just to say that for sure we need to have audited report on time so that we can manage corruption or mismanagement of funds, and we can also have good internal controls in place, and at the same time encourage those who are in charge to make sure that they do the right thing, give the money to the people, and also visit them so that they see how the farmers are doing. For those who have had these loans and are not able to pay, maybe it is high time for us to say that we write off the loans and the farmers can continue with their produce, and sustainability of their families then is assured. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support the report.
Member for Trans Nzoia, Honorable Lilian Sioi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also raise to support this motion by the Committee of Special Fund. Madam Speaker, I'm going through this document and I'm surprised that we are talking about a report of 2021-2022, which has really delayed. And if you look at this fund, Madam Speaker, the commodity fund, it is a very special fund to the farmers. We have got so many farmers that are small-scale farmers that really need this fund so that they can be assisted to upgrade themselves. But it is so unfortunate if I go through this document and realize that there is a COP development state agency that has taken 40 million from the same fund and has not returned for a good number of years. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge and thank the committee because it is important to raise such issues so that we can talk about them and see how these small funds can be assisted. I want to also bring in the Youth Fund, Uwezo Fund, Women Enterprise Fund, a good number of funds that we have in this country. But if you look at those funds, Madam Speaker, they're not operating at the moment. And I'm so sure we have similar challenges that they're undergoing. And that is why we are not able to see what this fund is assisting our people with. I stand to support this report by Honorable Fatuma Full Network, that we really need to ensure that these funds are well managed and properly, those farmers are properly funded and followed up so that they repay back the loans so that other people can also benefit from the same fund. I've had a number of my members of parliament saying that we need to write them off, but I'm just trying to imagine if we do write them off and it is a fund that is a revolving fund, what happens next? We need to ask them to pay because it assisted them so that it can also assist others that also need the same fund. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Member for Yatta.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support
the audited report on commodities 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022. Madam Speaker, the Commodities Fund is a very essential fund because it's supposed to support farmers. We are talking of tea farmers, coffee farmers, cotton farmers, among many other farmers, Madam Speaker, along the agricultural value chain, Madam Speaker. If you look at the commodity fund, the way it's supposed to serve, is actually supposed to boost small-scale farmers, Madam Speaker. And most of these farmers, they are actually dependent on this commodity fund to be able to survive within the agricultural value chain, Madam Speaker. But if you look at the audited report, there are many questions coming to us as a House, Madam Speaker. The audited reports, they are falling short on accountability, Madam Speaker. And you find many farmers who would have benefited from this fund did not indeed benefit from the fund, Madam Speaker. Because the impact should be solid, should actually build what you call human stories for us to be able to say this commodity fund should be strengthened, Madam Speaker. But unfortunately, if you look at the audited report for 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022, it brings many gray areas and so many questions are raised about elements of accountability and management, Madam Speaker. So in principle, although it's supposed to be a revolving fund, many farmers have not benefited properly from this kitty or from this fund. And actually repayment of the loan has been a problem. And that's where when you talk of the impact, you find many farmers currently, and also during the period of audit, have actually struggled to be able to repay and to have meaningful impact from the fund. So in principle, Madam Speaker, what I would say and what this House needs to do is to reinforce accountability, to ensure there is value of money, particularly when it means to support agriculture, considering agriculture is the backbone of the Kenyan economy. From history, during our time, we used to hear about the tea zones and all those. By today, most of them are buried. We no longer talk of them. Actually, many farmers, the coffee farmers, are selling their land, which used to be for agriculture, to build real estate. So it tells you there's so much this House needs to do to reinforce agriculture as a backbone and to support funds that support local farmers. That's why I said I need to come and support the report and ask the House to look into the future, how we need to strengthen some of these funds to support farmers now and days to come. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Mwashako.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving an opportunity to support the report from the Special Funds Committee on audited accounts for commodity funds for the years 2018, 2020, and 2021, 2022. Honorable Speaker, this is a good opportunity again for this Parliament and particularly this August House to, continue talking about management of public resources. Honorable Speaker, Kenya is ranked among one of the most corrupt countries in Africa and maybe, of course, in the world. And many times, Honorable Speaker, when you talk about corruption, it's purely, corruption is, a disease, a cancer that eats on public resources, Honorable Speaker. And it is sad that most of the avenues that are used to pilfer public resources, Honorable Speaker, some of them, it is through these funds, Honorable Speaker, special funds created for specific purposes, Honorable Speaker. We know under Crops Act, Honorable Speaker, this special fund, Commodities Fund, was created. It had so much hope for Kenyan farmers that this fund will be able to solve many of their issues. It was supposed to make sure that these farmers get inputs, they get the right seeds, they market their crops, and at the same time build capacity. Honorable Speaker, again, that building of capacity and creation of awareness has been lacking under these special funds called commodity funds, commodity funds, Honorable Speaker. You'd realize that in many parts of this country do not even understand that we have such kind of a fund. Many farmers across the country, I think when they hear us talking about this commodity fund, Honorable Speaker, they are surprised that they can access money to improve their, their farms and be able to, make sure that their farming becomes profitable, Honorable Speaker. In previous regimes, Honorable Speaker, and in the 90s, we know and we've been following that most of these funds were, and the borrowing that has happened, politically correct individuals, politically correct farmers were the ones who are benefiting from these special funds, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, as we stand here today to debate around this report, I'm impressed by the report because there are many recommendations that have been made. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, we must inform Kenyans that there are these funds. So that then every farmer across the country, if it's a farmer who does cashew nuts, a farmer that are doing coconut, if a farmer that are doing tea and coffee, and sugar and the rest, who wants to benefit from this fund, then they are able to access. But again, we must say, Honorable Speaker, it appears that this fund only supports coffee and tea. And yet we know we have, and coffee and tea is grown in few places in the country. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we need to, this fund and the CEO, needs to go out there and do awareness, disseminate this information to all the farmers across the country. And if there are crops that are not included under this this fund, Honorable Speaker, they need to be included. So that every part of Kenya must also benefit from the funding that we appropriate from this house. As it's been said here, Honorable Speaker, we are putting a lot of money in this fund, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, if it's not reaching all parts of the country, Honorable Speaker, then we are creating an imbalance. We are creating an atmosphere where some parts of the country will remain behind, other parts that are included under this fund, farmers from other parts of the country that are included will continue making money, growing, and other parts remain poor, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, again, this fund, and it is important that as Parliament, I think these funds have become too many. They have become too many to a level that, Honorable Speaker, I hear my colleagues talking about Uwezo Fund, I don't know what fund, now we have Hustler Fund. We have, I think Nyota, just that is not called fund, but it's again Nyota is also another fund. We have so much funds, Honorable Speaker, that to be honest, I've never seen a report that comes to this House indicating whether we are getting value from these funds, Honorable Speaker. We've not seen any report that indicates whether we should continue having these funds, and yet our people continue remaining poor, Honorable Speaker. And so, Honorable Speaker, as I speak today here, I would call myself, I would really want to know whether this Parliament can legislate and possibly collapse all these funds to one or two funds, and therefore put stringent measures to control wastage, to control misappropriation, and maybe create an anchor body that looks at what value do we gain from all these funds, Honorable Speaker. And particularly, Honorable Speaker, we say Kenya is an agricultural country. I think we used to say 80% of the economy is supported by agriculture. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, if a fund of this nature that we give so much money, we cannot ascertain how much of value do we derive from the money we give, Honorable Speaker, we may be losing money. We may be losing money that ought to have been intended to go to the right people, Honorable Speaker. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I would also want to look at, there's a lot of duplication. This fund, if you look at it, and look at the Agricultural Finance Corporation, we have AFC, we have so many funds under our agriculture. So maybe it is high time that Agricultural Authority of Kenya, Food Authority and the rest should come together and put their heads together under the Ministry of Agriculture and evaluate whether we need to have all these funds, whether these funds are making any impact. And if there's no impact, Honorable Speaker, we can channel most of these funds to even counties, Honorable Speaker, so that because agriculture we know is a devolved function. And maybe we can remove, we can collapse some of these funds that are not helping this country grow and channel all this money to counties and make sure that agriculture, in counties is supported so that then most of the Kenyans can be able to gain from their, daily activities of farming, Honorable Speaker. With this, Honorable Speaker, I support the report and, we need to do more so that we don't continue losing public resources. Thank you.
Very well. There being no other interest on this, I will call the mover to reply. Honorable Kivasu.
Thank you, Speaker. And on behalf of the Chair, Special Fund Accounts Committee, I thank the members for their deliberation and their support on the report of the audited accounts for the Commodities Fund for the years 2018-19 through 2021-2022. For the benefit of the members, this committee has about 104 funds that we oversight, and these funds we started oversighting last term. So we are still not even 50% of the funds, and it's my hope that what these members have already said, we are going to put it into use as we keep on oversighting, and request the implementation committee to follow the recommendations and implement the recommendations that the committee has proposed, so that this commodities fund can be able to streamline their financial management. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I reply.
Honorable members, we shall, by the standing orders, defer the putting of the question on this motion in the next appointed time. Honorable members, let us be upstanding. Honorable members, and the time now being 7 p.m., this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, the 11th of March, 2026, at 9:30 a.m.